It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop till I wear the crown. I'm just telling you to fight for your dreams, but it's not what it seems. Man, it's hard to be seen when everybody wants to be king. Yeah, they all want to ring. Yeah, we all want to be free.
We are here live on Lions Nation Unite, and we're going to be talking about the latest news and rumors regarding our Detroit Lions and what affects our Detroit Lions, because some big news happened in the NFC North. And I am here with my buddy, my pal, Ant-Man from Roar Lions UK. What's going on, man?
Hey, not bad, thanks, Mike. Love coming on these streams with you, as always. I had a bit of a disappointing thing today. We are a month away from Easter, and I have started on the Easter eggs. I've had to give in. I try and get a little bit closer, but they're there, so hey-ho. Gonna have to work them off.
You just can't control yourself.
Soon.
You're a rebel.
No.
You cannot control yourself.
Exactly,
folks, we are live on multiple platforms, Facebook and YouTube, so make sure you go ahead and comment if you're on Facebook. And if you're on YouTube, hit that like button. You already know how to comment there, and we're going to get after it. If you don't know, we do the Q&A session about a half an hour in. Then we'll just go ahead and let you guys run the show. But right now, reports came out that the Green Bay Packers have given permission for Aaron Rodgers and the New York Jets to talk. It looks like Aaron Rodgers is leaving the NFC North. Thoughts on that, Ant-Man?
This is going to sound really bad as a Lions fan, but I'm actually incredibly disappointed that Rodgers is leaving the NFC North. I mean, the way to keep them a bad team is to have that massive contract of his saddled on their books so that they can't get rid of it. And if they trade him, they are going to take a hit this year, but it's going to be nothing compared to the hit they would have taken if he'd have stayed and made that deal work. So there is a part of me that's disappointed, but then there's a part of me that's like, you know what? He's running away with his tail between his legs. He can't deal with the North. Now it's becoming competitive again. So, let's welcome Jordan Love next season and make him realize that, there ain't going to be no third Hall of Fame quarterback in a row for the Packers. He's going to be terrible. He's going to be a bust. We are going to own his ass. It's time for us to take over this division now.
Absolutely, 100% agree. I am happy Karen is leaving the NFC North. I got tired of Brett Favre. I got really tired of Aaron Rodgers. We got Jordan Love we got to deal with. It not only depends is what they're going to get for the trade. What do you think that the Packers will get in a trade for Aaron Rodgers? Do you think it's going to be significant, or since he makes a lot of money, it'd be a little bit less?
I don't know, because, it's kind of in... His deal doesn't kick in till the start of next season, so the Packers are in no rush to do this. So I feel like they've still got some leverage in there. So I don't think the deal's going to be what people say it is. It's not going to be multiple firsts, anything stupid like that. But I think they'll probably get a good deal out of it. And, for the Jets, good for them. They're going to get a guy they're going to be able to compete. We'll see what happens with it. But it's an uber competitive conference, the division that they're in. Obviously, Josh Allen's in there. Is this kind of... It kind of feels out of sync because the Jets are on our timeline, and we've said this a lot. New coach, they're building the team up from scratch. It's been terrible. They've taken the lump to go after a quarterback and try and win. It seems ill-advised on their part, and if they give up a lot for him, it's going to be even more confusing. So I don't think it's going to be much.
The one thing I'm going to miss about Karen is Kirby Joseph picking him off all the time. It was really fun to see Kirby Joseph introduce himself to Aaron Rodgers, and that seems to be not going to occur anymore, so that stinks. Other news out there, Lamar Jackson got the exclusive franchise tag. Looks like he'll be leaving the Baltimore Ravens. And Atlanta Falcons, they already said they're not going to go for him. I think he goes to the Washington Commanders. What do you think about Lamar?
Well, I mean, I saw the head media honcho over at Washington, he said there's no chance he's going there. I don't know what's going on with him, but it's weird. The people seem to have this thing that the Ravens are a well-run, respectable organization, but they are mired in problems at the minute. You see all the stuff about the GMs attacking the wide receivers, saying they're not good enough. The wide receivers saying, well, you ain't playing us right, you ain't training us right. There seems to be a lot of behind-the-scenes turmoil there at the minute. And, the goal is to get a franchise quarterback, right? Like that's what we keep hearing year on year, especially as Lions fans. Go out there, get yourself a franchise quarterback. They got him at 32 in the draft, and it's like you're not going to pay him when the time comes for it. It's confusing, and with having the tender on him now, you can't choose which team he goes to. Oh, well, I mean, you can match it, but if a team comes in who's going to be really good the next few years, you could be getting 2 late round first picks for him, which is nothing in today's grand scheme of things. So I don't get what the Ravens are doing. They just seem to be in free fall, and I think they're in for some really bad times going forward.
Yeah, for sure. They definitely could be in for some bad times. As long as it doesn't affect the NFC North, I'm not too worried about it, and I don't think it'll have to do with anything regarding us or the NFC North, because Jordan Love will be a Packer. Justin Fields is going to stay over there in Chicago. And, of course, you got Kirk Cousins over there in Minnesota. So the Giants placed franchise tag on Saquon Barkley. He's off the market. There's been rumors that Derrick Henry could get traded, and I seen an article. I don't know if it was Lions Wire fan-sided, but one of the destinations was the Lions. Personally, I don't think that's a destination for Derrick Henry. He's older. If the Lions wanted to get a running back, they'd just go in the draft, and we already got our backs. What do you think about the idea of trading for a Derrick Henry type?
I don't like it. And this is not to say he's not a great player. He is a great player. One of the best running back in the NFL. But I find the Tennessee offense boring. It is hand it to Henry, let him do all the work for you. We don't work that way here. Our offense is not predicated on having a bell cow rushing back that's going to do all the work for you. It's dynamic, it's fluid, it's inventive. And I just kind of feel like he won't fit the mold we play here. And, of course, you're going to be paying him really good money. And everyone's balking at the thought of taking Bijan Robinson with pick 18 or whatever in the draft. So it's like, well, you don't want to do that, but you're going to pay Henry a lot of money for the mileage he's got on the clock and all that. It kind of seems a little bit hypocritical there. I don't like it. I don't want him here. It's not our timeline. Not the type of player to suit our offense. Someone else can have him. Because
I just want to get that out of the way because I don't think it. I didn't even make a video on it. It was like, it's one of those things where it's like, I'll just throw it out there really quick. I think we're going to be focusing more on free agency in the draft as we get really close to free agency here. What is one guy you believe the Detroit Lions will target? What is one guy you're like, the Lions, I think they're going to go this route. Do they make a splash signing like a DeMar? Do they just stay pat and wait for B plays?
I don't know. I mean, I would love to think they'd take a run at Devon White. I really, really would. If the Bucs are going to just let him walk. I mean, I think if you get him, you've got Rodrigo here, you invest another linebacker in the draft, then all of a sudden your room is completely transformed for the better. So I would like to think they would have a run at him. There's the one at Pittsburgh as well. His name keeps escaping me, but the fifth-year guy who's just about to come out there because they ain't going to pay him. I would like to think they would have a go at one of those guys, one of these young linebackers coming out. May get paid a little bit of money, but that's fine. They're experienced, they're young, they'll suit us to a T. I think Tremaine Edmonds, I'd love him, but I think the price tag is a little too high on there. Devin Bush, that's it. Is it Devin Bush? Yeah, it's Devin Bush. But yeah, I would like to see him go for one of those young guys.
I want them, if they're going to go in free agents, like you said, I'd like for them to go for the younger guys. I don't think they're going to make many splashes. Maybe they go one. I think Jamel Dean is an option for the Detroit Lions there. I do like him, 26 years old. I've heard his name float around quite a bit. He would help our secondary out. $16.5 million a year. I think it's worth it for him. Then you go into the NFL draft and you can get another corner, whether you want to go Christian Gonzalez or Devon Witherspoon or whoever, and you really build that secondary up. I like that a lot. That's the route I would go. What do you look at the secondary? Do you think they address it in free agency, a significant address, or just depth?
I've made my feelings clear on the cornerback room. I just want to start again, start from scratch through the draft. Get two really talented guys, start the room again. You've got Okudah and Jacobs here, who, at least this year will provide good competition, provide depth in the position. But from your core pieces of it, you need to start again. And at safety, you kind of need to go through the draft again, I believe. I think you need a reset in the secondary of more young, talented guys. So I'd rather they do that, unless there is a bona fide, secondary player out there who can come in, be a starter, and really add something to us while the young guys develop. That's great, but not anyone in the Deshaun Elliott mold again, sort of who's been floating around, not quite got there, not quite done that at this point in time. I'd just rather go and get the guys and start again because the room's a mess.
Would you go for Jesse Bates? Because he's also been, some articles talk about potentially Jesse Bates coming to the Lions. I don't think so, personally, because you already got Tracy Walker you paid, you got Kirby Joseph. He's going to demand a lot of money at the safety position. Personally, I'd like to take that money at the safety position and address it elsewhere, corner, potentially defensive tackle. I'd rather go in a different route. But what do you think about going after a Jesse Bates?
He's going to cost a lot of money.
Yeah.
A lot of money. And it all depends what you want. I mean, I think you will see... You would have thought that if Brad Holmes was going to go down that route, he would have started restructuring more contracts now. The only way he's going to go big in free agency is if he restructures money and kicks the can. He's not doing that, and he's not done that so far. He's been very, sort of hold firm and carry on the rebuild type thing. So I can't see us making a big splash at this moment in time like him. So I think he's a little too priced. Like I said, I would love Tremaine Edmonds, but he's in that same kind of category. He's going to be getting near the $20 million a year mark, and we don't have that. We just don't, and I don't think we're going to backload a deal like that either. So we'll have to wait and see. Like they said, if they find the right player, they'll buy him at any price point. But is the right guy there? We don't know. But again, I think it's just a bit too much for us.
What are a couple players on the Detroit Lions that are free agents you'd like to bring to the Lions? We got Isaiah Buggs, a free agent. You obviously got Alex Anzalone, Brock Wright, a ton of players. Who do you think the Lions should bring back?
Kamish. I think Kamish should be the first name brought back because of where he's come from, his story here, how well he played for us, and how bad this team looked without him, it's really rare for a guy like him to come in and for a team to miss him after a few games the way that they did. But I'd 100% pay him. You need good edge depth. You can use him along the line a little bit. You got the versatility there. He's vital going forward. And then outside of that, I mean, I still and ah over Chark. I still think there could be something there, but I feel like the valuation has to come down a bit, and I don't know whether we'll get that or not. And I'd bring Elliott back as well. I would. Deshaun Elliott, I think he's provided good veteran leadership in that room. And again, I would draft safety again this year. So whilst you're developing your room and your young guys, having a solid guy like him in there helps big time. So they would be the two I'd probably look to out of most of them.
If you guys are not in our group of Lions Nation Unite on Facebook, go ahead and join up there. We'll get you in. We're putting a lot of content on Facebook, just a mass amount. Also, the page Lions Nation Unite, we're actually live on there right now. So if you have Facebook, go ahead and join that group. We'll get you in there because I'm telling you what, the amount of content that's being placed on that thing is absolutely crazy. It's just like mass amount. So go ahead and check that out. Let's go ahead and switch to the NFL draft. The Combine just concluded. What were players that stood out to you for the Lions in the NFL Combine?
I mean, people know me. I'm not the biggest fan of the combine in the world. I'm the fan of watching tape at college level. I think you find a lot more there than you do otherwise. But there were some standouts there for sure. I mean, if we were going edge, I know it's not really a need on there, but Keon White, I'm massively high on in this class. The Georgia Tech edge rusher. I think he's the second best edge rusher in this class, and I don't think he's going to be drafted as such. So I think there's going to be incredible value to be had with him. He played incredibly well. And then it's, for me, the combine, I look at small school prospects who we can use here. I've not been quiet in my opinion about needing an X receiver, for the Lions going forward. Even if Chark comes back, you've got to develop your guy in the future, I think, there. And, I was looking guys there. Yoshavas, the Princeton wide receiver, looked really damn good. I've gone back and watched his tape again. I think he's a development guy, but I would love to bring him in, get him training well there. Isaiah Land, the edge rusher from Florida A&M, he also looked great. He bulked up 21 pounds, which is what he needed to do. He was moving well. He looks great. Motor as hot as anything. He's not the James Houston mold. He's a speed guy, not a bang guy, but I think he will offer, again, something to this class, outside linebacker. I enjoyed watching the small school guys and some there, but as for others, I don't really take the notes of the combine seriously. I'm set in the ways of my guys, and I don't let it influence my decision that much.
Well, we'll get into the quarterbacks in a minute because I know everyone wants to talk about that for sure. I mean, that's the way that it goes. I liked what I saw from Byron Young. I've been high on him since week 4 of the NFL season. He did really good in the combine. He could be another James Houston type of player. The problem is I think he went up in the draft now, so I don't know if he's much of a guy that's a hidden gem anymore. I like what I saw from Dorian Thompson-Robinson, the quarterback out of UCLA. I've been high on him. He was projected to be a 7th-round pick. I think he goes maybe in the 5th round now, and that's potentially for a guy for the Detroit Lions to groom. Do like finding the late-round guys, like you said there, because that's where you find your players that really give your team a big boost. And, that everyone knows about the early part of the draft, but as we've seen with Brad Holmes, it's the mid-rounds that really can change. I mean, you got, obviously, Amon-Ra St. Brown. We've got Aleem McNeil, James Houston. So it's just one of those things there. I thought Kalijah Cansey did really well. I think he moved up extremely high in the draft. I think he's going to get taken high now. I think he's probably DT2 at this point, right after the guy of Jalen Carter. So it'll be interesting there. The quarterback position, like everyone's going to want to talk about here. I'm just going to say this right now. I do not believe Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud, or Anthony Richardson will even be available at pick 6. So a lot of people say, well, let's go ahead and get one of these quarterbacks. It's not going to be there. I think they're gone. I think they're gone before it could go 1, 2, 3, just like that. And so if you're wanting to get a quarterback, I don't see one of these guys being there, Ant-Man.
No, you're going to have to get very chummy with the Cardinals and trade up. That's what you're going to have to do. And I know we've had a lot of staff exchanges with the Cardinals recently, so we've got ins in the building now. But if you want a quarterback, you've got to trade up. It's
we're not doing
quite
that.
simple for that. And there is no one in this draft worth trading up for. I will stand staunchly behind that. I just don't believe there's anyone there worth all the capital it's going to take and what it's going to do to the franchise moving forward. So
it's going to be a lot.
Not for me.
Even just a couple spots would be insane in this year. It's not like last year. This is a different quarterback class. I think, like, even the Bears, they're going to get a king's ransom.
I think the Cardinals will as well, because people will fall
agree.
in line behind them. So you can get to 3, and at worst, you're going to get Richardson, who's going to be a incredibly high floor, really massive high ceiling prospect there, or someone else goes down that train of thought and you get one of the more pro-ready guys in Bryce Young or CJ Stroud. So it's kind of a win-win to be there. You can either sink, and the vet class is really good this year. There's loads of vet quarterbacks out there. So, if you do end up with one of the development guys, just go and get a vet guy, sit him for a year, maybe pick high again in the draft after, bring your new guy in, stick a shiny new pick there in the next draft with him, and off you go. So I think there's going to be a lot of competition for those places, and I just don't I don't see us being in that position, and I don't think we should panic either. You remember last year when we're at 2. Oh God, we've got to take a quarterback. We're never going to be this high again. We'd have made one of the biggest mistakes in a draft ever if we'd have taken Malik Willis at 2 last year, and we held firm. And I think we need to hold firm again this year. Time isn't right.
We're just not gonna. I just don't think we trade up. I don't. I mean, if
No.
these guys are gonna go quick. There's too many teams that want quarterbacks, like Indianapolis Colts, Carolina Panthers, Houston Texans going to take a quarterback. You can go ahead and throw in Atlanta Falcons, who are off the Lamar Jackson train. You can put in even the Oakland Raiders, who seem to be wanting to get a quarterback. It's going to go up there. I think the legitimate option now for the Lions is if a Will Levis is sitting at 6, you can trade back, potentially. The last team looking for that last top 4 quarterback.
Yeah, the Lions need to go all in on this team. And, you've got 5 picks in the top 80 here. We've already got a tremendous young core in this team, and we are building it in the right direction. You've got 5 picks in the top 80. Go all out and fill as many holes as you can in this team. Add to it well in free agency. You've got a quarterback who right now is in form and doing well, an offense that's buzzing, a staff which is, stayed together. You go for it now. And even if down the line you need a quarterback, there are ways to come up and get one. It is not impossible. Even the like of Patrick Mahomes fell into double figures. You didn't have to go to 1 or 2 to get him. Who knows what's coming out of the next quarterback draft classes? We just don't know. It's very volatile. But, just do what you've been doing now, which has been sensible, picking really good football players, and you get a really good football team. So I just want them to carry on doing that. Because we're not going to land on all these 5 picks. The more picks you get, the more we'll land on. If we land on 3 of these top 80 guys, our team's going to be that much better next year straight away.
A lot of mock drafts came out, and I'm seeing a big trend, and I actually think it's probably correct. Christian Gonzalez going to the Lions, whether it's be a trade down or sitting at pick 6. I'm really starting to believe, for me personally, I think that's probably the route they're going to go, maybe in a trade down. What do you think about taking Christian Gonzalez with the first pick? I'm not going to say at 6 because we may not be at 6.
So this is why I don't like the Combine. We knew what Christian Gonzalez was before we went to the Combine. We knew that he was going to test incredibly well, that his vert was going to be crazy, that his drills were going to be good. But no one wanted him at 6 before the Combine. Oh, well, people did, but not as many people wanted him at 6 before the Combine as before. And now all of a sudden he has a great Combine. He's worth 6? No, it doesn't kind of work that way. And Devon? Everyone was on Devon before. No one wants him now because he didn't run his 40. Well, I mean, you're throwing away years of research and, tape on the players in this. I still believe, heart of heart, Devon is the best cornerback in this class, and don't let him not running a 40 with that opinion for you. He fits this team perfectly. There's a reason he got so much traction, because he fits this team. He is the best cornerback in this class, in my opinion. He fits your team. You stick pat and take him. You don't change your opinion on one day, and Dan Campbell doesn't, thankfully. So I don't think they will give in to peer pressure with this one.
I think it's going to be cornerback. It can either go Witherspoon, Porter, or Gonzalez. I'm leaning towards Gonzalez just from the rumors, what I heard, because my partners at Chat Sports were all at the NFL draft talking to all the personnel, and the rumors around there was Lions and Gonzalez. That's what they told me. Either way, I do think it's going to be a corner, probably with the first selection. In the second selection, a lot of steam is defensive tackle Kalijah Cansey. Him's flying up draft boards at pick 18. I don't even know if he's going to be at pick 18. That's the thing here. He could go at 14. He could end up being a top 10 pick if they keep it up. But I would absolutely love that selection. Defensive tackle there. We need help on the interior. Would you be okay going DT at 18, whether it be Cansey or somebody else?
I'd be fine doing that. For me personally, it wouldn't be Cansey. It'd be Benton. I'd be one. I could probably get him in the second, and I'd probably wait till then. But if my hand's forced, I will take Keanu Benton any day of the week. I think he fits this team much better than what Cansey does. He's the run-stuffing presence we need. Best run-stuffing defensive tackle coming out of this draft. He's got high upside as a pass rusher, looked much better last year. Having him and Aleem in the center of our interior defensive line, both of them you need to double team, and if you don't, you leave them one-on-one. There's pass rush ability in there. You can't block all the guys off the edge. You are going to overwhelm people. You're going to overwhelm a lot of teams with what you have at your disposal. But the key thing is, unlike Kancey, you are really helping your run game with Benton, and you're still getting pass rush upside, which is why I think he should be the guy that, if they're going to go DT, you go with him, because Kancey doesn't help your run game problems. He's 285. You know, he will help in there, but I'd rather have a run stuffer with pass rush upside than the other way around.
Also, I think a lot of people, I think it's really Foreman too, is the first pick in the second round linebacker. A lot of talk at linebacker. You're starting to see a trend here, cornerback, DT, linebacker. I've been wanting to get a linebacker for many, many years. I do think that's probably where they go, whether it be Jack Henley, Drew Sanders, whoever they want to get. I do think that's corner. So linebacker. Do you agree that's probably where they get a linebacker, Trent Simpson, or any one of these guys if available?
Yeah, because I really want Diane Henley, and he ain't going to slip any further than that now, unfortunately. He's shown what he can be at the next level, and that is a linebacker whose coverage with tight ends and running backs is phenomenal. He has tweener ability. You can play him at safety. You can play him on the edge. He's exactly what this team needs. So I would 100% be going for him, and I think that you're going to have to get him in the second there. So that's why if I can get Henley in the draft and I can get, Bush or White or another young veteran like that in free agency, I'd be absolutely amazed and delighted, because we'd suddenly have one of the best linebacker groups in the NFC North, if not the wider NFC. So I would go with him.
Yeah, I think that's kind of how the draft's going to go. Maybe throw a monkey wrench if they decide to trade up or trade back. But I really do believe it's going to go cornerback, DT, linebacker. You could flip DT and corner at 18 or 6. Either way, I do think those positions are addressed with the first 3 selections. I think the Lions know this. It's clear as day that they want to get better. And it's good if you're a Lions fan, because our defense has been pathetic for some time. So I love seeing the trends that's going on in the mock drafts. I'll be happy either way. Like I said, it may not be a player I like. I do trust Brad Holmes' ability to draft players. We just need to get this defense fixed for sure. And obviously, backup quarterback, when you're talking about someone that you're going to go ahead and groom and they can sit and learn, you get that later in the draft, or if you want to go pick 55 or wherever. But either way, we address the biggest needs for this football team and go forward. Folks, if you got questions, put it in the comment section. Put hashtag Lions, hashtag LNU. Let me know your thoughts. Give us questions in here. We will answer them. It is time for the mailbag segment. Again, questions. If we miss your question, it's not because I'm being a prick. It's because I didn't see it or they're coming in too quick. So just copy and paste it. I'm not ignoring you. That's just not how it works here. I'm old. I'm about to be 38 in a couple months. We're both old. You can see our hairlines. So just hit us up. We're not trying to ignore you. Questions on free agency in the draft. Free agency again starts on, officially it's Wednesday, but they can make the deals on Monday at, I think it's noon. I think that's when it starts.
Oh, yeah. All the deals come out on Monday. You hear about all the deals that have been made, and you just wait until... Yeah,
this guy's been in the comment section saying, should the Lions sign Mike Hunt? He's trying to put those two together, and for a funny question, so I wanted to put that up there because I knew it was coming. Yes, they should absolutely sign him or her. Do you think the Lions are going to trade for Jalen Ramsey? I do not. Rumors came out today. Rams want a first and a second round pick. There's no effing way I'm giving up that for Jalen Ramsey. Plus, you're going to have to give this guy a new deal. Would you trade for Jalen Ramsey for a first and a second?
100% no. That's not our timeline, folks. We can go out and get two high quality cornerbacks of the future and pay a lot less for a guy of the now. We don't need guys of the now. We need new guys here. Can't afford to pay him that.
That would be ridiculous. That would be a stupid move, giving up first and a second for him. I would lose it right there. I just don't think Brad Holmes would do that. Hashtag FGB. Since Derek Carr signed with the Saints, does that open up draft options for us? I don't think it affects anything at all.
It just starts the quarterback carousel off, doesn't it? But I think the Saints are stupid. They are so stupid for doing that move. They have just consigned themselves to purgatory forever and a day. So, well done, Saints. You just became irrelevant.
Kyle Young, if the Lions sign a top corner free agency, do they still draft a corner at pick 6? They wouldn't be forced to, but I think they would definitely do it. The position is butt cheeks. It is really bad, and just like Ant-Man was saying, it's just like you got to go a whole rehaul. You got to, like, remove everything. It's that bad. I wouldn't mind it at all. It makes it so they don't have to force it. Like, oh, I have to do this. But if they want to get it, there's not going to be a problem. I still think if they signed, like, a Jamel Dean, they're probably taking a quarter in the first round. Would be 18 or 6, or at 9 if they trade back. Still do. Paul Ginder, $5 super. Thank you so much. Hashtag FGB. Hey, Mike and Ant-Man, what do you guys think if we go for Cooper Rush as a quarterback 2? I would love Cooper Rush. I think he'd be a perfect quarterback 2. I mean, literally, his style is perfect for what we got going on. Coming back to Michigan, he did well in for Dak Prescott, but a new name is in the fold as a backup potential that I was hearing, Teddy Bridgewater. So that could be something the Lions look at, but I would love Cooper Rush. Paul, thank you so much for that super chat. What do you want as a backup quarterback, Ant-Man?
It's my belief that they're going to go through the draft for a backup quarterback. Given who I'm seeing that they're meeting with, they've met with DTR, they've showed heavy interest in Jalen Fowler, who's the quarterback at Brad Holmes' alma mater. And I was talking with some guys about him who know a lot more about him the other day, and they reckon as backup in this league, he will do really well. So I think you're going to see the Lions backup come from the draft, particularly day 3.
Steve says, no way they draft a corner at 6. Not worth it. I remember a couple years ago, I was saying they're taking a Kuda at 3. Everyone said they're not doing it. So don't ever say it's not happening. They very well could. They absolutely, unless someone falls. So you never know. Maybe a Jalen Carter falls and they're okay with it. Maybe a Will Anderson falls. Maybe there is a trade offer at 6. I think that's the most realistic in all honesty. Go ahead, Ant-Man.
I would just kind of ask back, who is worth it, though? You know, there's no quarterback there really worth it. There's no offensive linemen who are worth it. There's no defensive tackles who are worth it outside of Jalen Carter. I mean, you can say it's not worth it for corner, but it's not worth it for pretty much every other position.
Let's go through each position. Wide receiver, would you take one at 6?
Hell no.
Offensive lineman at 6?
Hell no.
Tight end at 6?
Of course. No, I'm joking. No.
Would you take a running back at 6?
No.
Would you take a quarterback, Will Levis, because he would be the one that's potentially there? Okay, let's go the defense. What defensive tackle would you take at 6?
Carter, and that's it.
Okay, Carter. So if he's not there, you're not taking one. Edge rusher. You're going to take an edge rusher at 6?
No, because Tyree Wilson's all the hell overrated. So is Miles Murphy. So, no.
I like Will Anderson. I don't think he's going to be there. Are you going to take a linebacker at 6?
No.
Are you going to take a safety at 6?
No.
Are you going to take a kicker at 6?
Well,
long snapper.
There's some good kickers. Well, you know, if you talk to Matt about that one, he'd take a long snapper at 6. So he'd just not like Scott Daly. And I think the value is important. I mean, how many times, Mike, have we said over the last few years, like, we're sick of watching our secondary get shredded because there's no guy on the outside who can cover a damn wide receiver? It's absolutely critical to this team. So pick 6, no pick is too rich to get the right guy in this draft. at quarter there.
Pick six with a player that gets a pick six. Look, I don't care. I go BPA. That's the way that I draft. I know we're a little bit different here. If I love Will Anderson, even though Jalen Carter's with the issues, once that stuff gets resolved, if it's fine, those I have higher, okay? If one of those guys there, that's probably the route that I'm going to go. But if you're talking about Will Levis, Christian Gonzalez, or like a Tyree Wilson, I'm probably going to go Christian Gonzalez. Or if it's Devon Witherspoon, I'll probably go. That's my personal preference. So I think that's the way you got to be. Got to be. Hashtag LNU 26-year-old Michael Jackson, senior cornerback from Seattle, took 93% of 2022 snaps and had a good year last season. Could he grow into a number one spot at Detroit?
He couldn't even get in our team when he was here. He's our old Michael Jackson. He used to be on the Lions. I would say no, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, could be wrong. $20 super here, hashtag FGP. 2 questions. Thank you so much, Mike McCall, for that super chat. By the way, show some love to Mike McCall. He says, what have you heard about the competition for Deuce? I have not heard anything about progress in signing any of our free agents. Zero progress on any of our free agents signing. I have heard absolutely nothing. And Mike McCall, I've been asking around, and zero zip, nothing. No rumors on it. I have no idea. I've been asking literally every single day, and I've gotten zero on it. I tell you what, if I hear anything, I will make a video on it because I'm tired of being in the loop. Now, have you heard anything, Ant-Man? Because I've heard zip.
Not out of listening to some of the player interviews. Like Anzalone was on a pod the other day. He said they've been talking, but all it's been is talks. Like I think they've talked with just about everybody. So I just think they're keeping the cards very close to their chest at the minute. Free agent. You've seen the amount of players getting cut right now. Some really good players. I think, you don't want to sign your free agents in if a guy suddenly becomes available on the market. So I don't think you'll see much until free agency starts and the Lions know the lay of the land and how many players are out there and who could be out there. So, no, they're keeping it very close to their chest at the minute.
If I missed your question, just repost it. I'm not intentionally trying to screw you here. Hashtag mailbag. What if we went Skoronski at 6 or 9? That we can replace Big V when he's done, or even Jonah if he's expensive, and gives lots of flexibility for the backup offensive line. Jeff Risden said he's heard a little bit of thoughts of Skoronski, but he does not believe it at all. He thinks it's just BS. So I don't think they're going to go offensive line. I really, really don't. Taylor Decker, still good. Sewell, still good. Big V's going to be taking a pay cut. Frank, good. I don't see it all. I think if they go offensive line, it's a backup role, maybe in round 3. Offensive guard, because Evan Brown's going to be gone. I don't think they're going to go tackle early. They can do backup role 5th or 6th round, something like that. What are your take on taking Skoronski in there if you think he's BPA?
My dark horse theory for this draft is that Holmes is going to go heavy on the offensive line. Because you have a problem, and Jordy mentions it there. Jonah Jackson is going to be incredibly expensive next year. You get ready for a contract which is going to pay him about $15 million a year. A lot of money for a guard. You're paying your left tackle. You're paying your center. You're going to pay your right tackle the best deal for a right tackle in the league. And the trouble the Lions have, there's no young talent coming through on that offensive line in the future when you're going to get hijacked by all these deals. We need a guard. I fully expect them to go guard probably earlier than a lot of people think because you've got to fill that hole and you've got to fill it well. And they've got to start drafting offensive linemen who are high-caliber potential starters for the future because you can't afford to pay Decker, Jonah, Frank, Penne all at once and, a new guy. So I think it is something that could definitely happen. But Skoronski, I ain't sold on him. They're going to kick him inside to guard. I don't think he's a left tackle at this level. I'm not enamored with him. There are other options I'd go. I'd much sooner take Osiris Torrance.
Yeah, First off, I love Osiris Torrance. Everybody knows that. I think with Big V staying, maybe that's off the board. I would say late second, early third, potentially looking for a guard, but I'm with you. If they go guard early, I'm not going to be upset. Evan Brown was really integral to our offensive line last year due to the injury to Big V. He could play on the right, left guard, and center. Imagine if we get an injury again. Do you want to be screwed? And I don't think Logan Stenberg's the guy. I like Tommy Kramer as a backup guy, but do you want to trust him for any significant time on the offensive line? Probably not. So if they did that, I'm not going to be mad. I won't be mad about it. Big V looks to be taking a pay cut here soon, and so I wouldn't mind that. I think low-key you could be right on that one for sure, and I think it's important. You really, really don't want Jared Goff to have to run for his life and get hit. Evan Brown was so good for the Lions as a backup, and we need to replace that. We do. And I think the best way to do that is the NFL draft, not in free agency. Man Bear Pig with the greatest name. Again, if I miss your question, repost it. Hashtag mailbag. Brad Holmes is going to save some cap for the trade deadline this year, mid-season, just in case the team is on the run or a player or two gets injured. Your thoughts on this? That's an interesting take, Man Bear Pig. I haven't even thought about that at all. This is the first time I even thought about someone bringing this up, saving cap just in case if you want to trade for a player. So this is what he's talking about. The Lions are doing really good. They feel maybe they're a player away to make a run in the playoffs. Trade for somebody. You have the cap space to do it. I don't know who would be on the market or what they'd be looking at, but that is a smart plan to have. Even if they don't have money, though, Man Bear Pig, they can always do a restructure if they're wanting to make a move like that with pretty much anybody, whether it be Jared Goff himself. They're going to probably like I said, they're going to do a restructure there with Big V, but you got Taylor Decker's got a big contract, Frank Ragnow. So if they're wanting to make a move, they could do that. But being fiscally responsible just in case is smart. What do you think about that idea, Ant-Man? Saving money. Lions are doing good. It's like, you know what? Let's get this one piece where we can make a significant run.
I mean, it is something that could happen. Me personally, I don't think it will, simply because we don't have much money this year. And, people might say, oh, you got 40, 50 million. That's going to disappear very quickly, let me tell you, because we've not even started signing the free agents. The 2 first-round picks cost you nearly 10 million alone. Your money soon vanishes, and I don't think we're going to have that much of it, especially to save it for, going forward. And we've got no more first-round picks, no extra picks after this season. So trading draft capital in season is risky, especially if it's a rental. I think the way he builds it, he tries to use as much of his resources as he can on the team now. Because let's not forget, he's not had much money to spend on this team. He's had to be very frugal in the last 2 free agency classes because he's had no money. And, I think it's going to be the same again. I think he'll spend what he can now and keep developing the team. But, this time next year, if you were to ask me that, because we will have a lot of cap, I'd probably agree with that.
Hashtag smash the hole. Do you think Jamal Williams and Swift will be our running backs this up-and-coming season? Swift's going to be here. He's still on his rookie deal this year. I don't think he'll be here after this year. Jamal Williams haven't resigned yet, and I'm kind of waiting for that. What the hell is going on? They want him to come back. He wants to come back, but now you're hearing there's other teams in the mix. I don't know. Each day passes, it feels like the odds gets less, but you assume they want him back, but I don't think Brad Holmes is willing to overpay for Jamal Williams. What is your take on Jamal Williams here?
I think he's in a very difficult position with the Lions because of the draft class. It's so stacked at running back. And, you've got DeAndre Swift for 1 more year on a cheap deal. They're not going to get rid of him just because of the sheer value for money. He could play well just for a quarter of the season. He justifies his contract. So I don't think from a point of view, I think he's just going to struggle in that regard. And like you say, someone might pay him. I want him back. Don't get me wrong. I want him back. But again, with the money situation this year and how it is, I'm not paying a bigger 1-year deal, like much bigger than what he had last year. I'm certainly not going over like 5 million or something like that. because I can go in the draft and get a guy for the future. Running back is another room we need to reset. This time next year, we've no one under contract. So there's got to be some work done on it this offseason. And even if Jamal does stay, that's not helping you after this year. You've still got to go out and make moves. So I think they're waiting to see what happens with the running back market. Because there's a lot of people out of contract. The draft's stacked. I'm not surprised they're taking the time with it.
I agree with you. Running back is a need, folks. I know you're like, oh, we can't go off. But we, just like he said, we got no one contract next year. Like, that's not a good thing. We're talking about any running back. So you got to look for that. And about being responsible with the money, too, you got to understand, just because we have money now doesn't mean we just go out and blow it in free agency. If you look what bunch of teams have done over the past 2 days is they're releasing player after player after player after player because they did ridiculous contracts. We got contracts that will be coming up. Penei Sewell, Jonah Jackson, Amon-Ra St. Brown. These guys are going to get paid at some points. We got to think about the future too as well. So if we go ahead and just sign a bunch of guys like other teams did, you're probably not going to be able to sign the guys who we drafted that you want on this team for the long haul. So that's another thing you got to think about. Think about that. Did we place a franchise tag? Absolutely not. We did not place a franchise tag anybody. No way, Jose. It did not happen here. Go ahead.
I heard Tim Boyle got it.
He got some
Sorry,
tag,
Mike.
but I don't. I think it's not a franchise tag. It's more like. Oh, my God. I think I'd lose it. Line sign Tim Boyle. Oh, my God. If you don't know, man, Tim Boyle was you're at training camp, and he's throwing it in the stands. It's like, what is going on with this guy? Terrible. Hashtag mailbag. Will Hutch or Sewell play some tight end this year? Maybe in a trick play. That'd be about it. Maybe like one trick play like we seen with Penei last year, but they're not going to be out there doing it all the time, no.
See, I just, in sort of this really fantasy world, I'd love them to do what college teams do, which is like when you're on the 1 yard line, you're trying to run it over, bring in your DTs, bring in your defensive tackles as extra linemen, just run over somebody. I would love to see a Aleem in there as a sixth lineman. Get Carter, send him in there. I'd play them as linemen. Absolutely.
Folks, we got 188 in the building with 47 likes. Unacceptable. Smash that like button. Let's get to 75 likes. I think you can do it. We got some time to go. Hey, smash that like button. We got Manuel says draft quarterback at 6. It's a luxury pick that won't have next year. Let him sit behind Goff in 2023, and we go after 2023 where we save $24 million cutting Goff. I agree with your statement, but I'm going to tell you right now, Bryce Young's not going to be there. C.J. Stroud's not going to be there. Anthony Richardson's not going to be there. Hell, Will Levis may not be there, but I'm not a big fan of Will Levis. So with the top 3 not being there, are you going to draft Will Levis just to have a young backup quarterback? Or do you don't think, like, you're just going to take a guy? I think if you're going to draft a quarterback or any position, you got to do it if you think they're the actual future. Now, I could see a C.J. Stroud or a Bryce Young, but they're not going to be there. These guys are going to go 1, 2, 3.
And you don't draft them to sit them. You draft them to start them. And again, if it's Levis, this time last year, I would have absolutely killed to get Will Levis at 6 because of how good he could have been. But he's just had such a rotten year.
Yeah,
it's not worth it. And I think the other thing with this is, Goff has played so well, I think, because the Lions have shown unwavering faith in him and given him an opportunity. And I think that ties hand in hand with him playing better. And I think you run the risk of ruining that if you pick someone for the sake of it this season, especially that high. I don't know. I think there's more to this than meets the eye with it. So just don't take a quarterback for the sake of taking a quarterback. That is the worst thing this franchise can do.
If you're going to draft a player, whether it be any position, quarterback, line, any position, do not draft just to draft the position. You draft if they're the right fit, if it's your board, everything, and that's quarterback included. I will not just draft a position just to draft. Well, we need a linebacker so bad, I'm going to draft it at 6. That's a terrible idea. I love, that's just a terrible idea. Just let the board fall to you. and go that route. If it's if a great quarterback fell in line, C.J. Stroud or Bryce Young, look, if hell froze over and something crazy happened, that would be okay. I have no problem, but I'm not going to take. Well, we need a quarterback, so Will Levis is the last one left. I'm gonna just take him. That's a bad idea. That'd be a bad idea. Or you know what, Levis gone. We're gonna go Hendon Hooker at 6. I think that's a bad idea. So just let the board fall to you. And again, I'm not picking on quarterback. That's any position. I'll say the same thing about any position. Average quarterback's getting $40 million a year. Is that how much Daniel Jones got? I know it's a 4-year, 160, but I don't know exactly.
Yeah, and he can get like $35 million more in incentives. So
okay, yeah, for sure. So, yeah, look, man, I thought at least they didn't have to pay $45 million for him. That would have been ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. So, $40 million. I guess probably a little bit over they want to pay. I probably want to pay it to a Daniel Jones, but it is what it is. You know, they declined the 5th-year option, so they have to live in purgatory a little bit there, for sure. Nobody likes Herbert. Herbert, you mean Justin Herbert? I love Justin Herbert. I wanted the Lions to draft him at 3. I made multiple videos about it.
The thing everyone forgets about that, though, is we had Stafford back then, and there was no indication he wanted to leave, so the need wasn't there for a quarterback at the time. We weren't saying, "Oh, let's replace Stafford." That is entirely a hindsight thing now.
Hey, not me. I was preaching.
Oh, I know with you, Mike. I know with you.
Look, I'm an Oregon Duck fan. I got to watch his arm, and I'm like, man, this dude gonna be really good. We did go that route, but it's okay. I mean, hindsight, right?
Yeah.
There's nothing we can do. We can't get him now. So it's like I can complain and cry about it all I want. It's not going to get him here. So all we can do is move on from that garbage regime. By the way, this is funny as hell. Matt Patricia may become a coach for the Philadelphia Eagles, whom Darius slays with.
Did you see all the players chatting shit about him on Twitter? There was him, there was Quandre Diggs, there was Tracy Walker. It was so funny. It's just this big thread of them.
Hey, Darius Slay, you can be like, can we trade me back? He hates that guy, man. How could they do that to good old Slay? Oh, my God. Trade Jeff Okudah. Philip C. says, trade Jeff Okudah. That's an interesting take. I don't think they're going to do that. I think they're going to give him one more year here with this system. But what if he sucks in the trade deadline? That could be something. Like he gets benched. Because what I was told is Jeffrey Okudah is competing for the number 3 spot. That's what I told. Like he's competing for number 3 right now, and we ain't got nobody on the roster that's worth a damn besides Jerry Jacobs. So what do you think of potentially if he sucks, like he's benched a couple games and the trade deadline's coming up, I would trade him. What do you think?
You wouldn't get a thing for him.
I want to.
You know, at best, you might get a conditional day 3 pick for the 2025 draft or something like that. You wouldn't get anything.
And cap saving.
And cap saving, but it's the last year of his rookie deal, so generally they tend to be unfavourable when cutting. You generally tend to lose money on the last year if you cut them. So my opinion is just ride or die with him for the last year, and then make your decision when the year is over. If he's played really well, then great. Give him a deal that reflects what he's done. If not, we've given you an opportunity, and it's all about giving the players opportunity, time to prove themselves. I know Okudah said, he's had so many years.
Yeah,
now, but
no, I agree. Yep.
For him to come and play as much football as he did last year after the serious injury that he had, you've got to give him one last chance. Which the question you've got on screen, the question you've got up on screen about Goff at the minute, it's like I would. Trading Goff is the worst thing that this franchise could do.
That would be a terrible idea.
So, to the guys, Happy Dan who's asked it, if you trade, this whole rebuild is based on the belief amongst the players that you can come here with an opportunity that the team will give you if you play well and they will keep you in this team. Detroit is not a fashionable destination for players to come. You have to sell players on that. That's why players want to come here, to have an opportunity to get in this team and play well. And the team has showed that if you do, they'll give you a deal about it. If you betray the quarterback, who has played really well last year, they put faith in him last season, he played really well, he couldn't have done much different, and then you just draft a quarterback and get rid of him, that throws your culture message right out the window, and no one will take it seriously from then on. You'll go do some real damage if you just pull the rug out from under Goff right now. You can't do it. You've got to give him another year, chance to get in the playoffs and do that, and keep giving him opportunity, because that is what the message of this rebuild is.
We're competing for a playoff spot this year. This is no more like, oh, I hope. No, we're competing for the NFC North and to win a playoff game. You're not gonna really do that unless you get super uber lucky with a rookie quarterback. Rather have a veteran in there. Jared Goff's done fine, and if you do say a C.J. Stroud in this case falls, I have no problem if C.J. Stroud fell somehow to pick 6. Lions draft him, have him sit behind Jared Goff. I want to compete for a playoff spot and win, and I trust Jared Goff over a rookie right now. He did not play terrible. He can definitely win you a playoff game, and with Aaron Rodgers leaving the NFC North, I think the Lions probably has the best shot. You look at the quarterbacks right now in the NFC North. Jordan Love, we don't really know what he's got from him. Justin Fields can run, but he hasn't passed at all, and their offensive line is booty cheeks. Kirk Cousins, he just falls in the big time. Jared Goff, he's just sitting there, nice and even keel, just keep going on.
Exactly, and this is why I think it might be best to keep him. I don't like this narrative going around that he's going to hold the organization to ransom for $50 million because Jones got 40. Jared Goff knows damn well that this franchise gave him a second chance in the NFL that no one else gave him, and for his first year, they stuck with him. They didn't draft a quarterback despite being under big pressure to do so, and if they let him go for it again this year, I think you're going to find a situation where, because he's remembered for the Super Bowl, right? Oh, Sean McVay did it all. It's not him. That'll be the biggest mark on his career that he will want to get rid of. If he thinks he can win a Super Bowl here in Detroit or take them to one, I think he will ask for perfectly fair money so that the team can build around him. I don't think he will hold us to ransom. So it's another avenue you can go down. And that's why I think Holmes is putting so much into this relationship with him, because he sees that drafting a new guy is not the only way this can be done. By showing complete faith in Goff and him continuing to play well, you get a deal where you can get a quarterback who's playing top 10 football, and you can get him on a good deal, which is not going to handicap you going forward. So I think you have to be careful with this.
Paul Geiner, $5 super chat. Thank you, Paul. The G says, #FGB. Hey, Mike, do you guys really think drafting a quarterback is a good idea for a backup if Goff goes down to win us games? No. That's why you go ahead in free agency and you pick yourself up a quarterback too. You draft the quarterback to be the guy behind number 3. That's what I think. I've been talking about getting a guy like a Cooper Rush or a Sam Darnold. Today we're hearing Teddy Bridgewater. I think that's the route you go for your QB too. If Goff goes down, you got somebody to hold it down, not a Tim Boyle or a David Blau. If you get a rookie quarterback, say you get one around 5 or 6, that's a developmental guy. Just go ahead and make him quarterback 3 and do his thing. But I'm about getting a quarterback in free agency, and there is a ton of quarterbacks, backup quarterbacks in free agency, and it's going to make the cost of a backup go down because of it. You look at it, it's insane. You got the red BB gun, Andy Dalton, you got Marcus Mariota, you got Cooper Rush, you got Sam Darnold, you got Baker Mayfield, you got Mike White. The list keeps going and going and going with backup quarterbacks. You can get one of these guys. It's not going to cost a ton. Somebody says, I completely disagree with that. Holmes already said that he has been open and transparent with Goff throughout this process. He played well, but doesn't make you untouchable. Trading him this year.
He was untouchable.
Trading him this year for a rookie quarterback would not be you're trying to compete and win a division. And right now, he knows the offense. I don't mind drafting a quarterback, but to get rid of Goff for a rookie guy right now, would be a bad move. If you're wanting to do a draft a quarterback and stash, hey, I have no problem. You've seen Kansas City do that with Patrick Mahomes, Alex Smith. You've seen it with Jalen Hurts. You've seen it other teams do that. I'm perfectly fine. But Jared Goff will give you the best chance to win on Sundays over a rookie right now. He just will. He's top 10 in statistics pretty much all across the board. After this, say you got a quarterback, say a C.J. Stroud-Phil, which I don't think is going to happen. You draft him. Okay, you keep Jared Goff this year and let him walk after next year. That you just put in the quarterback. But to get a quarterback, say you get Anthony Richardson or a C.J. Stroud or a Bryce Young, you're like, you know what? We're shipping Goff off. That's asking a whole lot from this rookie to come in here and to win in the NFC North. Because that's right now our expectation is to win the NFC North and host a playoff game. It is not building anymore. It is, we got to win this year. That is the expectation now for Detroit. So the best way to do that is be a team like the San Francisco 49ers. They had Jimmy Garoppolo, Trey Lance, and Brock Purdy. Is to be a smart franchise like that. Like the Philadelphia Eagles, who had Jalen Hurts and then the Gardner Minshew as a backup role. I think that's the best way to go.
Exactly. And, you're building through the draft. And as we've said already, you've got a lot of expensive rookie contracts coming up. So you are effectively going to be wasting the rookie careers of all these guys if you're just going to smash the reset button like that. Because by the time the quarterbacks come good, you're going to be paying a lot of expensive players around him, or you're going to have to trade them off and go again. So the conference is there to be won this year. The Packers are now going to hit reset and go with Jordan Love. The Bears have umpteen, they have stupid amounts of resources to fix their team. It won't be this year, but it'll be sooner rather than later. So you've got to get to the top and assert your dominance over this conference whilst you can, because the opportunity might not be there much longer. So, if you're going to get a quarterback and sit him, fine, but stick with Goff for now. Win the conference. Get some of these stupid stats about us not winning in God knows how long off the books and keep showing forward progress.
Steve Wallace says, you're not winning with scrubs like Bridgewater or Mayfield. Okay, so let's go bring Tim Boyle, who won his 0 games. Let's go ahead and get David Blau, who won his 0 games. At least Mayfield has started and actually won games. At least Teddy Bridgewater has started as a quarterback and actually won games. The odds of you winning a game dramatically goes down with your starter goes down. But I'd rather have somebody who's actually had starting experience as a backup and has actually played a game before. That's what I'm saying here. Yeah, the odds is going to go down. You lose your starter. Absolutely it does. But at least you have a shot before there's no shot. Tim Boyle's going to throw 5 interceptions in a game like Nathan Peterman. David Blau's get 5 points in a game. So, I mean, look, that's the way I see it.
I can't remember the last time we won a game with a backup quarterback.
Sean Hill. That was it. That was back in
Jesus.
2010?
I had hair. I had hair back then.
Oh, man. Cooper Rush or Dalton, that could see that. Sam Darnold would be a nice backup as well, yeah. Someone with starting experience and has won a game. Not somebody like a Tim Boyle or David Blau.
But always make sure make sure you've got a guy in your pipeline. That's why you go late in the draft for one and get a guy and develop him, and you never know what will happen. At worst, you might get a good quality backup, so you don't have to go and pay $6 million, $7 million to a scrub. You don't have to be insane. Been aforementioned. Exactly. You don't have to go for a scrub. If you get a quarterback 3, you train him, and he becomes your 2.
Yeah, it's true. So says I was talking about the idea you shouldn't draft a quarterback because it might upset the team. Oh, I agree.
I never said that. I said
any position. This is what I think about this position. You draft an edge rusher. Guess what? Is it going to make the edge rushers mad? Probably. You're taking away their job. Quarterbacks should be no different in that sense. Like, you should never not draft a player because it'll upset the other players on the team. I, as a GM, am looking to upgrade the roster from quarterback all the way down to long snapper. I don't care what position it is. If it's an upgrade, that's what I'm going to do.
So the question was, back then, was drafting C.J. Stroud and trading Goff. It wasn't just drafting a quarterback.
Yeah.
It was getting rid of Goff. The fact is, you've got to give Goff year 3 because he's earned it. It doesn't mean you can't draft a quarterback and prepare your succession plan. You can absolutely do that. But the question was regarded to just getting a quarterback and throwing Goff away. That will upset the team because every other player on this team then realizes, well, what if I play well for this team? They'll just go get rid of me. You know, you've got to be careful with that. You've got to give Goff ample opportunity. Let him go out there and win the NFC North.
You got to win the NFC North. That's like in everybody right now, the players that are in contract, we're here to win a division. All right, we're here to win the division. That is what this team has preached. And to start a rookie right now, to me, that's kind of going against what you preached. But I'm all about it. Like, if a quarterback fell, I've been talking about this forever. I don't mind it if it's the BPA. I don't mind it.
So look what the Seahawks have just done with Geno. They've given Geno a 3-year deal, but they've front-loaded it. Like half the money he can earn in his first year.
Nope, I think at 4,
I think they're going to draft exactly.
Yeah.
I think you will go after Levis or Richardson. So you are doing right by Geno, who has earned another year at the franchise. You are giving him the opportunity to earn lots of money and continue winning games. You are giving him incentive to do that. But at the same time, you are also drafting a quarterback who you say he's not ready yet, but in the future, Geno, this is going to be our guy. But for now, you're our guy. So you are satisfying your current quarterback and you are setting yourself up for the future. You are looking after everybody that way. That is the right way to do things here. I'm just saying, if you draft a quarterback and then get rid of Goff, that's not the right way to do it. Draft a quarterback and sit him, fine, but not the other way around.
They don't draft for need, Ben Richardson. They draft, in my opinion, it's smart BPA. Like, I think if there's a player that maybe they're completely strong at a position, but he is an absolute stud, I think they would, like if Will Anderson right now, we have no problem at the edge position. But if Will Anderson is sitting there, even though we're good at edge, I think they would draft Will Anderson, even though we don't have a need there. That's what they've shown is they do BPA. That's just what they do. I mean, will they go if you value a cornerback or a edge rusher the exact same on your value chart, you're probably going to take the cornerback because you do have a need there. But if there is a guy way above, like a Will Anderson, valued another, you're not going to take the valued under just because you need that position. I think they would go edge. You know, or I just don't. Quarterback, none of the guys I think are going to be there at 6. None of the good ones. That's my personal opinion. It's going to go 1, 2, 3. Could go 1, 2, 3, 4. Go 1, 2, 4, 5. Just like Seattle, they definitely could take quarterback. So I just think that's the way it's going to go. But we have been on for over an hour. And this was a fun one. Thinking about going live on Sunday, potentially for a free agency. See if there's any, information coming out. Well, I'll think about that going forward. Let me know comments below if you would like that. But Ant-Man, I appreciate you getting on, man. You excited for free agency?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I think we're going to go live next Monday when the window opens up. We're going to see what happens. It's going to be great fun. So I'm just looking for, honestly, when all this is said and done, I'm just looking forward to the next evolution of this team. We've seen first year was just about getting anybody. Last year was about building on what we've got. And this year, I think we're starting to finally put the big pieces in place to make a push. This is where it gets exciting. I think this is where we do see some new and more exciting vets coming. I think this is the year we do see, real good picks come out of the draft yet again and really start to push us towards the top of the NFC North. So I'm just so excited to see the next evolution of this team because we are heading in the right direction and we are going to be an incredibly good football team sooner rather than later.
You heard it here. Roar to Lions UK is going to be live for free agency. Make sure you go over there when stuff happens. They will be live breaking it down for you. So put that right now in your guys' brains or go subscribe to Roar to Lions UK because they're going to be live for free agency when it hits. A ton of stuff's going to happen, whether it be Lions or not. It's going to be a fun time again. Go over there for Sure. I appreciate everybody hanging out. It was another great show with my guy Ant-Man. With that said, adios.
I feel nauseous, believe me. Never had a lot of shit come easy. Had to work hard, struggle just to be me. Had to rise up just so they could see me. Did what I had to do just to feed me. And what was left over I put towards my dreaming. But the only thing in life that has meaning are the things you gotta work for, believe me. Take into your hands a plan. Your own hands can land your own brand. And damn, I feel like no one takes accountability. They want the credibility, convincingly unwilling to put in the hours it takes to get some power. Don't be f***ing sour. Take a cold shower. Scream until you're louder. Work until you're prouder. And f*** all the doubters, they're just your downers. I swear to God they all let me down. I always fought just to wear the crown. I'm off at these fucking clowns who were all taught they deserve an ounce. It's only worth it if you work for it. It's only worth it if you work for it. I won't stop till they hear me now. I won't stop